What is good, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy. You already know who it is, but if you do not, my name is Malcolm Dakar, the People's Champ, aka I'm kidding. In this video, we are going to be making an athletic short pattern, and I'm very excited for this. I need some shorts. It's summer. It's starting to get hot, so you know what that means. Shorts, legs out, all that above the knee. You feel me? So let's get right into it. Okay, so let's start this pattern. I have a previous pair of shorts that I made that I like the fit on a little bit more than the latest pair that I did do, but I'm still gonna use the latest pattern that I made as a reference, as well as the shorts. I will say that if you are following at home and you do want to make your own pattern with your own measurements, I would suggest getting a previous pair of shorts that you like the fit of, and then measuring half of the waist, or a quarter of the waist I should say, the side seam, the hem, the inseam, and then the crotch line. And then with those measurements, I believe you should be able to follow along with your own measurements and not have to use mine. Okay, so I'm gonna start over here. I'm going to, I think, just start with the length, and I'm going to go up from this line here 17 inches, and then yeah, we'll just work from there. And so I've extended this line all the way over because we're going to do the front and the back. And so yeah, you could just extend that all the way over. And so next I'm going to do the hip, and it's a quarter of the hip, you know, with however much ease or whatnot that you want added to it. And so on the latest pair that I did 12 and a half, but I think I want to do 13, maybe even 13 and a half. I'm gonna think about it for a second, but from this line here, you would go over the whatever you want your hip to be. So yeah. Okay, so I've done 13 and a half inches. I decided to do 13 and a half. And so from this line, I went over 13 and a half and just made like a little space in between to then do another 13 and a half. So this is front, back, or back, front, however you want to title it. But yeah, now we have the basic shape of our short, and let's continue. Let's focus on these two lines. This first line, I'm gonna go down from, this is a waist here, I'm gonna go down 7 inches, and it'll be the same for the front and the back. We're gonna go down from our waistline here 7 inches, and then I'm going to go down from our waistline 10 inches, I think. So yeah, so from this waistline here, go down 7 inches, and then go down 10 inches, and then make those lines. Okay, so I'm pretty much debating on if I want to do 10 and a half down or 10. And if you're wondering why I didn't do this pre-making this video, it would have happened regardless, because I'm constantly just changing my mind on things. And when you start pattern making, I'm sure you will constantly change your mind on things as well, even when you are making a video about it. So it just is what it is. Okay, I am back. I had to take a break and try to reset, and I feel like I was just kind of all over the place earlier, but let's just recap what I've done so far, what we've done so far, and that is create the length, which is 17, and then we did the hip, which is 13 and a half, and then from our waistline down we went 7 inches, and then I think I'm going to do 10 and a quarter, and I'm just going to split it between 10 and 10 and a half. So from my waistline down, I'm going to go 10 and a quarter. Okay, so we've gone down 10 and a quarter. Now I'm going to just kind of start marking things, just so I know what is what, and then we can continue. Okay, so now I think I'm going to do the waist. I'm going to go over from this side line here. I'm going to go over 9 3/4. That will get me, what is that? 10 is 40. I think 39, like a 39 waist. And then my elastic that I'll be using will be roughly around like 36, 35. And then for our front, we're going to go down an inch, and then for our back, I'm going to go up an inch, and then from that point, I'm going to connect it to our side seam here. Okay, so next I think we are going to just focus on these lines here, and with these lines I'm going to make sure that I mark from my side seam over. For my back I did 11 3/4, and then for my front I did 11 1/8. This line is the widest part of our hip line, and so you just pretty much need to make sure, like, you know, it's as big as the widest part of your hip. And for me, with those numbers, it'll be about 45 and a half or something like that. And yeah, my hip is about like 40, so that gives me more than enough room in these areas. And I'm trying to do my best to explain the reasons why I'm using like the numbers that I'm using, but yeah, it'll take some time. Okay, so I changed my mind. I'm actually going to go over, for my front, I'm going to go over 11 inches, and for my back, I'm going to go over 11 and a half. And the reason I decided to take those in a bit is because my overall leg is wider than my previous pattern. And so with 13 and a half inches, I'll have, I think, you know, just more room. And so I won't need it to be 11 1/8 and 11 3/4. I think I can bring that in, but we'll see. I don't know, I could be wrong. Okay, so now we can focus on this line here, which will shape our curve for our crotch line. And again, because I made my overall leg wider, I don't need to go as far out with this line here to then shape this curve here. And so let me just think about it for a second. Okay, so I'm going to extend this line, our front, over 1 inch, and then I'm going to create this curve and this curve. And then for my back, I'm pretty sure I'll probably only go over about 1.5 inches over, but we'll get to that in a second. Let me focus on the front first. Okay, so I've connected my point here to our line here, and I've gone and done the curve for our inseam as well. And I've also like to go up from our hem up 1 inch and just like mark that, and then I'll have like this point be the start or the end, whatever you want to call it, of the curve. Because when we go to hem these shorts up, I just like to have this be like a straight line, you know what I mean? So yeah, I like to do that. We need to make sure that this line and our back line match up, so just measure this line real quick. Okay, so this is 7, so this also needs to be 7 as well. Okay, so I'm going to go over from this line for our back 2 inches, and yeah, then do the same thing I did for my front. Okay, so what I've done is from this line here, I've gone, well, literally just from like this point downward, you go over 1 inch because this is gonna like wrap around the front. And so you add 1 inch this way, you add 1 inch downward, and then you connect that line. And yeah, I went over 2 inches from this line, we went over 2 inches, and then from this line, I went over 1 inch. And then I created that curve, which is also 7. So that's good. We can mark that. And this line was 14.5. So we can mark that. And then this line was 15.5. And so now we can connect this line here. We're almost done, but one of the last things I want to do is add the waist to, or the waistband, whatever you want to call it, to our front and our back. Because yeah, I want to have that just attached to the short itself. So my elastic is 1 1/8 inch like width. And so I'm going to go up 2 1/4 from our front and back waistlines. Mark 9 3/4 over, and then connect these points here. Can try to smooth these lines out. I mean, it's not like too bad of of a shift, but yeah, okay. And all we need to do now is create our hem. I'm just gonna go down 1 inch from our hemline. That'll then be folded up, and then we add our seam allowance, and I think we're done. Okay, y'all, I think we are done. We have everything everything there is to it. Let's see. Let's mark 9 3/4, 2 1/4, 9 3/4, 2 1/4, front back. I do want to measure out these lines here. So from this point to this point and this point to this point, measure it out just so we have that number. Okay, so just to compare a bit, for our previous shorts pattern, our front was 10 inches. For this one, it is 11 1/8, so a 1 1/8 increase, which I don't think is too crazy, considering how these shorts fit. And for our back, we have 13 3/4, and our back for our other one was 12 1/4. So that's I don't know, what is that? Also, again, I don't think too much of an increase. And yeah, the previous one was 14 3/4 for this line, and our new line is 15 1/2. Again, not a crazy bump considering how the other shorts fit. And so I think these will fit better, or not, I don't want to say better, but just they will also fit, they won't look crazy or anything. And so yeah, we're done. All I need to do is add my seam allowance. I'm not going to add it to the hem or our waistband here. I'm just going to serge those areas. But yeah, add seam allowance here. Well, let me get these patterns out the way. Add seam allowance to our side here, and our inseam here. And yeah, then we're done. Sometimes I'm feeling it, and I'll just hand draw the seam allowance in. I've sort of been able to eye 3/8. Not saying I get it perfect each stroke, but like I said, sometimes I'm just feeling it. And we're done. Now we just cut it out, and yeah, next video will be the sewing process. Okay, everybody, hopefully that wasn't too rough. Hopefully I was able to explain everything and you were able to follow along. If not, just let me know in the comments and I will definitely be able to help you out. I can really only get better if you guys tell me what I need to get better on. I know I need to improve for sure, but it helps if you let me know in the comments, hey, can you explain this a little more, or hey, can you show us this a little more in detail, kind of thing. So yeah, just let me know. And the next video will be the construction of the shorts, so that should be exciting. Hopefully you stick around for that. If not, that's alright too. Thank you for watching this video. Until next time, peace.